say goodbye to Hikertown. Goodbye, Hikertown. Okay, just before 5 in the morning, headed up to the PCT along the highway here. Wind is blowing, can you tell? Anyway, room was comfortable. There were bumps and noises coming from other rooms, so I put in earplugs, fell asleep at, I don't know, 8:30, and woke up in the same position at 2:30 in the morning. So I guess I got some good sleep. Room was comfortable. Sometime after, well, when I woke up, I put on my sleeping bag. Oh, just threw it over me, but it was very comfortable. Today's the aqueduct, day 26. And we have reached the aqueduct. So now we'll be following this. Okay, so now we leave the above ground aqueduct portion. And if you look here, we'll start following this pipe. Looks like Mr. Raven found something to eat. Maybe a dead mouse. So I've been walking for about an hour and a half. Haven't seen another hiker ahead of me or behind me. We got pretty good visibility on these roads. There's nothing else on. I did see one guy camped off to the side of the road in his tent with 2 dogs. That must be a handful. Now we transition from the pipe to concrete covered and walk along it for even farther. Yeah, so it's 7:30 and we put about 7.5 miles behind us. Got 9 or 10 to the next water source. Trying to keep enough sand underneath my feet here just to keep the feet from turning to hamburger, because if you walk on that concrete, it won't be long until all your joints hurt. Just got off the phone with Christy while I was having my second breakfast, and we talked about a change of plans yet again. So she thought about it, and she thought it would be best if tried to make a few more miles today and then try to get into the highway parking lot where she's going to pick me up at about 1:30 or 2 tomorrow, and that will give us more time to will give us enough time to do things in town. There's a truck stop that's got laundry, showers, and a restaurant all in it, so it's be a one-stop services, everything we need. So that makes sense. Then she can put me back out on trail. I can hike a couple miles in and camp, and then continue the next 4 days until she picks me up again. So good thinking, especially since I came up a little short on my resupply. I thought I bought enough, but I was going to be a little short for the morning of the third day. This way I don't have to worry about it. So it's all good. Okay, I just saw an unaccompanied pack of dogs cross the road ahead of me. They didn't look in my direction and ran off into the desert. I'm hoping they stay that way. Okay, it's 8:30 and we've done just under 11 miles, which means it shouldn't be too far. Another 4 or 5 to the water source. And there's not a lot of scenery to show other than some very cool joshua trees. Here you go. Okay, it's almost 9 o'clock and I saw my first 3 hikers on the trail. They were resting under some concrete for some shade. And evidently they started at 3 a.m. and I started at 5 and we've made it the same distance. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think it's only about 5 miles to the creek. And there's some kind of barrel water dispenser or maybe a cache. But we're doing great. I'm gonna have a little water left over, which is fine. I like working it that way. They're one of these things, and no matter where you go, they like chase you. It's weird. Strange little beetle. So there's some nice shade under the bridge at the center of the wind farm. You can see everyone else had tried to get up even earlier, started the night before. We all arrived at that bridge at exactly the same time. So they interrupted their sleep and now they're just exhausted, so they're all sleeping there. I got a liter from that nice little water cache. Had some lunch, sat around for half an hour or so. It's now about 10 till noon, and it's 6.5 miles to the next water source. And then after that there's a water cache. So I'm going to try to decide where to camp to make the most mileage and still be good for water tomorrow. We'll see where that leads us. Yay! Back on trail, off the road. That's a rebel. Well, Saw a rattler and a big king snake just up the trail, so it was a good snake day. We're here at Tyler Horse Canyon and Creek. I'm going to try to find enough float here to fill some water up and decide what to do. Serenity Shuttle has landed, day 26. Trail mile 541.6, and put in 24 miles today from Hikertown. Started about 5 in the morning, made my way to the aqueduct, walked the 17 miles of the aqueduct, then through the wind farm, and then the climb out, and then down into this canyon where I'm under a big live oak tree. Got a little creek flowing nearby. It's pretty idyllic. Most of all, it's in the shade. It's a little breezy, but that's okay. At this point, I'm ready to be done with hot, exposed, and sunny. So the aqueduct, we took it on a day when it wasn't that bad. It was low 80s, pretty easy. But it was monotonous, and it did take it out of your legs and feet because it's just flat, and that's very repetitive. Stayed off of the concrete as much as I could and just stayed in the sand. Got to the bridge at the wind farm and went underneath it. There was a water cache there, and there was some nice shade, so had a 30-minute lunch there while everybody else who had got up in the middle of the night to do it and made the same progress were all sleeping. Up and over some hills into this canyon, climbing up. We got some more climbing to do tomorrow. Saw a big king snake, but couldn't get the camera engaged in time. He quickly went off into the bushes. Did see a rattlesnake. I'll have to look up to see what kind it is. It's a new species for me. It might have been the same one that I saw back like a week ago, but we'll see. And so after doing 31 miles yesterday, 24 was plenty today, especially since the next part I'm looking up at the climb that it does out of this canyon to start, and then we'll get a big climb tomorrow. The next water is at 7.5 miles, so I didn't really want to have to go that far or carry that much water this late in the day on these legs. So we'll just make do here. I imagine later in the evening a whole bunch of people will pour in here. This site is way down the canyon from where the trail crosses, which is kind of nice. So maybe fewer people will filter back here. Can have a little hermit night and catch up on my sleep, which I really need to do. It's been a challenging day on top of a challenging day, and that's kind of the way I like it. So tomorrow I do 25 miles and meet Christy at the highway sometime between 2:30 and 3, I'm thinking. And then she'll take me into the Flying J truck stop, which has laundry, showers, and restaurant all in one house, so we can get everything done at once. And then she can put me back out on trail. And then it's 4 days from there to the next pickup. So it looks like the plan is falling into place, but I'm going to lay down, clean up, eat some food, edit the videos, and then fall asleep early, I'm thinking. So thank you all for hiking with me, and remember, we're trying to do the impossible, and that makes us mighty. So it's 7:30, and the wind came down this canyon like you wouldn't believe, and it's been going on for probably 15-20 minutes. I'm just sitting up in the middle of the tent trying to hold it up, because everything was fine until now. I'm hoping it's a evening thing where all this stuff rolls down. And then it quits. I know I've got at least a couple tent stakes out that I've got to get back in once it's over, but if it's over. This is pretty crazy. this is pretty crazy. I'm just trying to support everything so that the bars don't break until I can get through it. Wow. Yeah, so I finally figured out if I just lean up against the side of the tent, because it seems to be coming down the mountain. I don't know why it changed direction and picked up like that, but I'm sure it's just how these canyons work. I'm also hoping it only lasts a little while, because if it starts to last into the night, it's going to be a problem. Everything in here now is covered in sand. It all came through the mesh when the wind picked up, so. Oh my. Joys of camping. Well, as you can see, I'm night hiking. So I packed up my tent, or I packed myself up as much as I could, got dressed while I was holding the tent up. Eventually got it all stowed. Have to do a damage assessment at the end. I think I got it before everything was broken. I might have lost a tent stake or two. I had to chase my pillow and my down jacket down the canyon because I caught them. Anyway, quite an adventure. So I've got a hike on. We just got to see where we end up. Okay, so when the windstorm hit, I had to pack up in a hurry, and fortunately the tent all seems to be okay. I'm now relocated 3.5 miles further down the trail at a place in a canyon that has absolutely no wind. That'll give me a little shorter hike tomorrow morning to Christie, 21 miles or so. I should get there about 1:30. So it's about 20 till 11 now, but at least I have a tent up and I can just sack out, and I'm gonna leave the rain fly off so I can see the stars since it's nice and calm. All right, well, the trail wanted us to get some footage of kangaroo rats, I guess, is why the wind blew the tent down. So it's all good. Now I have a shorter hike in the morning and got some additional footage. So I guess this wraps up the addendum to day 26, as the Serenity shuttle had to relocate to a less windy spot.